I want to circle back to you when you went to college. You went to UNC and studied English. What did you go into college wanting to be a broadcaster? Did you know that that's what you wanted to do? Cover sports?
No, had zero idea of what I wanted to do, and I never would have dreamed that I could articulate a career directly by doing what I did at college. I just wanted to try to succeed in getting an education and honor my mother for everything she had been able to do to keep us together and going forward through all the years after my father died. So I eventually chose English literature because I like to read books, and I was far better at that than anything science or math related. And eventually, I immediately after graduating from undergraduate school at UNC, I was asked to volunteer in a United States Senate campaign for a candidate I respected, a United States congressman from here who shared my views about a lot of things. And I went to work in that political campaign, and then the work I did there as a volunteer got me a paying job with a professional theater company and as the publicist. And eventually I figured out that I should go to graduate school in mass communications to try to set myself up for the best chance at making an income in the future. And while I was in graduate school in mass communications here at UNC, in a department called Radio, Television, and Motion Pictures, ABC Sports, it was 1974, ABC Sports had developed an idea for putting a college age or close to college age person on the sidelines of the college football telecast. And if you were a sports fan of even your age, you might think that there's always been a reporter on the sidelines of football games. I mean, it's
Mhm.
such a stock item now, everybody kind of takes it for granted. But when I went on to the sidelines of Tennessee versus UCLA in 1974 in Knoxville, Tennessee, September 7, 1974, no one had ever stood on the sidelines of a football game with a camera and a microphone. So ABC Sports developed the idea. I was chosen out of a talent hunt because I had been doing the coaches shows here at the University of North Carolina on the radio networks for the football games. That was a guy named Bill Dooley, and the basketball games. That was Dean Smith, and through a sort of step-by-step process, I became the person who was hired to work on the sidelines of college football, and that began my broadcasting career in 1974.
Wow, that's amazing. So out of college, your first broadcasting job is with ABC. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, look,
That's
couldn't
amazing.
happen, but it did. And yes, I went to work for a television network when I was 25 years old and doing something that nobody else had ever done. And yeah, it was mind blowing to tell the truth. And I had too much fun. I thought of myself as an instant star. That was an overshoot. I wasn't an instant star. I was just an amazingly lucky guy with a great entry level gig. And then I realized how to go forward. And at that time, ABC Sports still had ABC's Wide World of Sports, and Wide World of Sports had all of these funky, underexposed events like the wrist wrestling and the log rolling and the barrel jumping and the Oriental World of Self-Defense and the Demolition Derby on Long Island. There were all these events, and there were veteran announcers on the staff: Chris Schenkel, Bill Fleming, Jim McKay, obviously the host of Wide World of Sports, Cosell, Gifford. All those people were veterans, and so every one of those people had done the wrist wrestling and the log rolling and the barrel jumping once or twice. And as my upward path, paying my dues to move forward at ABC, I became the first guy to do all those events multiple times. Okay, I did the wrist wrestling 5 or 6 times. I did the demolition derby 5 or 6 times, and you know, it was all about paying my dues. When I went to the Olympics, I was a feature reporter. I was, you know, hidden in the background, in the masses, et cetera, et cetera. But all those assignments were my way of finding my way up the ladder and getting more and more exposure, and you know, moving toward larger exposures, like succeeding Cosell on the halftime highlights of Monday Night Football. Never should have done that. Or eventually becoming late night host at the Olympics, daytime host at the Olympics, and studio host of Wide World of Sports. And, you know, it was like jumping from lily pad to lily pad to lily pad across a pond. And sometimes you'd jump onto a lily pad and you'd go into the water and get drowned. But other times, if you managed to stand on the lily pad, you were doing a good job. You were getting exposure. You were constantly going forward. And like I said, eventually we got to 1987. Network was sold. New manager came in. He wanted to get rid of me. Couldn't stand that I had a huge contract. I had great guarantees coming up for the Calgary Winter Olympics in 1988. And his judgment, without knowing a single thing about me, he said, you know what? Boxing will hate him and he'll hate boxing, so I'll assign him to boxing.